What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Open World Gaming, a show where I talk about everything gaming. And in today's episode, I'm going to be talking about my top 5 PSP games in my collection. Let's go ahead and get started from my least favorite to my most favorite. So we have Phantasy Star Portable. This game is really fun. Of course, it has all the staples that Phantasy Star has to offer. It's got the character customization. It's got the grinding for rare items. It's got the classic boss fights that are a lot of fun. So they made this game a little bit closer to when they created Phantasy Star Universe. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that, but that is, in my opinion, when they kind of dropped off in quality on the Phantasy Star Online series. I wish it was created more like the GameCube version, because that one has just got a classic style, and I liked that one a lot better than Phantasy Star Universe. So it has a pretty entertaining story. I sometimes can't get drawn into stories in video games, but this one's pretty good. The only downside really to me is that it's kind of still there's no animations while they're doing the dialogue. It's just pictures of the characters and text. But the upside to this is that they do voice act over the texts. It's fun. It's a solid RPG. I recommend picking it up. We have Megaman Maverick Hunter X. So this game got me extremely interested way back in the day when I was a little kid. I played this one because they have a version of it on the Super Nintendo, and that was my first Mega Man game that I ever played, and it blew me away. I had a ton of fun. Now, a lot of people have complained about the graphics I've seen in a lot of forums. I don't really know why, but I think they're great. I think they're 3D rendered. They're fantastic to me. I will say the controls are they don't feel quite as tight as they are in the SNES version. That being said, the controls still feel tight enough to have a great gameplay experience. It doesn't ruin it at all for me. And all along the way, as you're beating levels and beating bosses, you actually acquire new types of ammo and new ways to kill enemies, so it's always adding new fun ways to do that. Also, if you really want to check out this game, the SNES version, then you can go ahead. It's actually on the SNES Classic. So I don't know if anybody says SNES. I do. Shut up. It's on here, so you can buy one of these if you don't want to try to track down an original SNES system. Okay. Maybe I don't say SNES. That sounds weird. Next up on the list, we have Monster Hunter Freedom Unite. This game is particularly special to me because this was the first game that I played in the franchise, and a lot of you know now that this franchise is pretty much blown up. They made a version on the PS4 that I have yet to play, and it looks fantastic. But like I said, this is where I started out with the franchise, and I did not expect to have such a big adventure in a tiny little PSP system. I really enjoyed the multiplayer on this game. I can just remember way back, probably 5-6 years back, playing with my brother Andrew, and we just had a lot of fun playing this game. You could link up. We had a lot of fun trying to coordinate our characters and picking and choosing, or at least helping each other pick and choose a armor set that would complement one another while we were out on the battlefield fighting the monsters in this game. So if you're a fan of big open world type games, this might not be for you. The areas are pretty small. They aren't very large, but I don't mind that because they keep you busy hunting for little items that you find along the way and hunting beasts and carving them up in order to make armor sets for your next hunt. I will say this game does require you to stick with it. You really have to grind through and learn each monster's move set, their combat moves, what they're going to do to you next, and you have to see that coming or else you will get clobbered in 1 or 2 hits, especially if you're just starting out. I always used the Monster Hunter wiki to look at what armor sets that I wanted to go for, and just so many fond memories. I have probably I have 200 and I think it was 14 hours put into this game. I actually looked on my PSP memory data, and that's how much time I put into this game. I am a pretty high rank, and that's another amazing thing about it, is that it always has something for you to do. That's a testimony to how much time and replayability this game has. I've put 214 hours in, and there are still a lot of quests that I have yet to take on because they are very hard. So number 2 on the list is Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. So one of the main reasons this game is number 2 on my list is because it plays just like a AAA title on one of your major consoles. Maybe not like the current gen, maybe not PS4. So back when we had the last generation, this thing blew me away because the graphics were so amazing and clean and smooth. It just fits in perfectly with the rest of the series. Another thing I like about it is the story mode. Of course, you have to like the story. If you don't like story in games, don't play Kingdom Hearts. That's one of the big driving factors. So unlike what I was talking about in Phantasy Star Portable, this game allows you to watch cutscenes and watch the story unfold. And there is a text box, but they also do voice acting in it, so I'm always a huge fan of when you can follow the story when there's actual real voice actors. So another reason I put this so far up on the list in my top 5 PSP games collection is because of the fact that you can play 3 different characters and they all have a different story to reveal to you, and they all have their own unique look to them. They have their own unique style, and there's so many extra things that you can do in this game. There's racing, there is little mini games. That is why this is so far up on the list. It's an incredible experience on the portable system. It's a must for the system, and it is a must for Kingdom Hearts fans everywhere. Seriously, pick this one up. And the number 1 game in my list is Final Fantasy Dissidia. This game is amazing, and I'm actually holding both versions. So if you don't know about this game, it's a Final Fantasy fighting game, and this is the one that they came out with first, and it has a limited amount of characters you can play as, whereas they released this version, and they introduced quite a few characters. I don't know if you can see that, but on the top you can see all the new playable characters. So the main reason I put this at the top of the list is because of the replayability. You can get so many hours out of it, just like Monster Hunter. I put in over 100 hours, not quite 200 like Monster Hunter, but yeah, that's because this was the new version of the game, and God only knows how many hours I put in the original version, so that goes for the new version of the game. Duodecim is what it's called. So the newer version, Duodecim, actually released a kind of more of a story mode that's much more immersive. They actually introduced this new way to play, this new environment that you can traverse and pick up items in, and it's really cool looking, and it was not available in the first original version, so it was very pleasant to go through and explore and have that aspect added to this game. But like I said, the replayability is really where it's at with this game. You can keep coming back, and I mean, after years of playing this game, I've come back and I've enjoyed it, including before I made this video. I put it in my system and I just couldn't stop playing it. I mean, you can level up each and every individual character. There are items for you to go grind for and go look for, and I gotta say, the environments are cool, but they're really not the biggest, kind of like Monster Hunter. Like, they're not, the maps on this game are very small, and that's due to the fact that it's a fighting game, but they are still amazing, and I think it's graphically very stunning as well, especially the cutscenes, and I think that's where this game really delivers. The graphics on the cutscenes are just amazing. They look like they are from like a PS3 system. So I was blown away by it, and the controls in the fighting style, they are also very fun to get to learn over time. You have different types of attacks. You have bravery attacks, you have HP attacks, you have this little shiny object that appears on the map, and when you collect it, it charges your EX gauge, which allows you to pump out an even more amazing, powerful attack, which, by the way, is unique to each and every different character. And that is gonna do it for my top 5 games in my PSP collection. Thank you guys so much for sticking with it. As you guys know, I love this system. This is one of my favorite handhelds. And if you haven't already, feel free to like this video if you enjoyed it, and if you've made it this far in and you like the content, feel free to subscribe, and I will see you in the next episode. Have a good day.